There's been an interesting backlash against Trump's big, beautiful bill, and it's coming from an unexpected place: fiscal conservatives. For years, fiscal conservatives have voiced concern about our growing national debt, and they're concerned about this bill for good reason. This bill proposes to continue Trump's first term massive tax cuts for the wealthy. It also increases spending in national defense and homeland security. And in order to fund those expenditures, they want to cut Medicaid, SNAP, which is food stamps, the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau, which looks out for consumers, and Affordable Care Act subsidies. These changes could leave 10 to 16 million Americans uninsured, pardon me. The House has passed this bill on May 22nd, and Senate Majority Leader Thune wants to pass it in the Senate by the July 4th recess. The CBO says that the House version could add up to $2.5 trillion to the debt over the next 10 years, raising to $3 trillion if you include the interest on that debt, and up to $5 trillion if temporary measures in the bill remain permanent. Now, several Senate Republicans have voiced concerns over the bill publicly. Ron Johnson, Rand Paul, Mike Lee, Rick Scott, they've all said that they've all openly criticized the bill for its fiscal impacts. And the Senate parliamentarians already taken out many of the high-cost measures of the bill. The national debt stands around $36 trillion. Our debt to GDP ratio is 100%, and that could increase to 125% by the end of this year. Our annual interest alone on the national debt is approximately $1 trillion per year. And the national debt has exploded in the last 25 years. It's tripled. In 2000, the national debt was at $5 trillion. 2010, 13 trillion. 2020, 27 trillion. 2025, 36 trillion. And the debt matters for several reasons. First and foremost, our high interest payments on the national debt are becoming one of the largest expenditures of our national budget, and that crowds out other spending priorities. We're spending $1 trillion a year on the interest alone, and that's money that is not being spent on healthcare or housing or other subsidies to Americans. It also increases risk of inflation, which we've all felt over the last decade. It increases borrowing costs for the United States government when the U.S. has to pay more in interest and when it issues debt, which also has ripple effects. It means that consumers are spending more on mortgage, credit card, or auto loans. It means that businesses have higher borrowing costs when they want to invest and borrow money for their business and invest, and that will impact the stock market and it'll impact the entire economy. The increased national debt has credit rating concerns, as the U.S. has recently been downgraded, and there are political concerns as political risks as debt ceiling fights and government shutdown threats seem to happen every few years. For years, deficit spending has been a tool that's been justified during periods of economic downturn or crisis, whether it's a recession or the 2008 financial crisis or COVID or a war. But today's economy is relatively strong. Any underlying weaknesses of the American economy are mostly driven by Trump's policy preferences, namely his politically motivated tariffs, not any structural problem in the American economy. So most economists agree deficit spending should be a countercyclical tool, not a permanent feature of our American budget. That's what makes this bill troubling. By increasing deficits during a time of growth, we're burning fuel that we might need for the next crisis. What will happen when the next recession happens and we've already maxed out our capacity to spend our way out of it? The biggest drivers of our long-term debt have remained unchanged. First, it's the interest alone on the national debt. It's also entitlement programs like Medicare, Medicaid, and Social Security are very large defense spending. Tax cuts that have taken place during the Bush years and during Trump's first term that were not offset with spending reductions and emergency spending, whether it's wars or COVID relief or the like. Trump's bill increases military and homeland security spending in part to fund his mass deportation efforts, but it also slashes revenues through massive tax breaks. And so, who's going to benefit from this? It is a huge transfer of wealth from the poorest Americans to the richest Americans, those who are relying on the government for example, Affordable Care Act protections and subsidies in order to fund massive tax breaks for the wealthiest Americans. It is a transfer of wealth from the poorest to the richest in order to also increase mass deportations. So this isn't just bad policy. It's irresponsible. It's irresponsible because those who have long claimed to care about the dead should be deeply worried about this as during high economic growth periods, we should not be incurring larger debts.